Disney Plus. Were you guys excited when you heard that announcement? I mean, look at this platform, so sexy. Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, new show, Mandalorian. More shows for me to watch. I'm excited. I just gotta figure out who I'm gonna bum this Disney password off of. It's not that I couldn't get my own, it's just out of principle. I don't know what principle, but some principle. But for some reason, people are going wild about this announcement. They're calling Disney Plus the Netflix killer, which doesn't really make sense, as I'm gonna explain in this video. And it even caused Disney to rocket out of its long-term consolidation pattern. So in this video, we're gonna explain what's going on and why Disney and Netflix are still completely separate. This isn't a Netflix killer, but it's very good for Disney. And through Macro-Ops, we've been tracking Disney for a long time, so it's nice to finally see it break out. Now, Ben Thompson released another article about Disney and the future of TV, which we're of course gonna use because he's the best. I'll link to the article in the description. But the first point that he brings up is that the best way to understand Disney Plus is that it's not really about television, not directly anyway, but it's rather about Disney itself. And you guys have seen this picture before. I shared it in our previous videos. And I got a whole playlist about the streaming wars, what's going on with HBO, Disney, Netflix. I keep track of this stuff because I love TV. If you want to see that playlist, just click right here. You can watch all those videos and catch up on what I'm talking about here. But this diagram created by Walt way long ago shows how Disney was thinking and how they still think today. They don't do just TV or just movies. They string that into their merchandise, into their theme parks, Disneyland, publications, music. Yeah, sure, you got TV and movies, but it's a whole ecosystem that just feeds off each other. And the way to think about Disney Plus is just one more part of that ecosystem. So people saying that Disney Plus is a Netflix killer, that just doesn't make sense because they're two companies with two different goals. Like, yeah, Disney is going to compete with Netflix as far as consumer attention goes, but the business models are very different. So for Netflix, streaming is its entire business. It's the sole driver of revenue and profit. But for Disney, yeah, they want Disney Plus to be profitable, but like I explained above, it just fits into the broader Disney ecosystem. So of course they're going to benefit from a direct-to-consumer streaming platform, but the way they benefit is by deepening their already strong connections with customers. And deepening that connection can help all the parts of their business, because we just talked about that, right? You got theme parks and you got merchandise, and you know how this works. You know how Disney gets in front of little kids and just poisons their mind with snowmen and Elsas, and then that's all the kid can think about, that's all the kid wants. And then Disney sets it up so that kid could get frozen in any way they want. Theme park, action figures, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. They can monetize in way more than just one way, so their lifetime customer value is a lot larger than, say, Netflix, which is purely streaming. And once Disney has you, they have you for life. Of course, I'm gonna go see Lion King. That's what I grew up with. So if they keep remaking it, I'm gonna keep seeing it. And now you got a genie that's black and blue. That's interesting. Gotta see that too. So Ben explains that that's why Disney is so comfortable in being aggressive in their price. Netflix is $10 a month or $14 a month. Disney is charging $7 a month, right? So they're undercutting Netflix. Now, if they charge those levels, their road to profitability for Disney Plus would have been shorter. But the outcome as a whole, when you consider Disney's whole ecosystem, that would have been worse, because a higher price means fewer customers, given the multitude of ways that Disney has to monetize those customers throughout their entire lives. So why would you charge them more now and keep some of those people out, where you could charge them less, get them into the ecosystem, and then really suck their money out over time? Now, I make it sound bad, but I'm fine giving my money to Disney, except at those theme parks. I never liked them, even as a kid. I never liked people walking around in goofy costumes or Disney duck costumes, because obviously it was fake. I much preferred CGI. And the best CGI back then, when I was 6 or 7, was at Universal Studios, where you could see Arnold shoot off the head of that Terminator and come fly into your face. Now that was cool. Or that Honey, I Shrunk Your Kids show that was in 4D, where the dog would sneeze on you and you'd get sprayed. That's the type of amusement park I like. And as I talk about these rides, I realize how long it has been since I've been to one of those theme parks. I'm sure they got a lot of new cool stuff. CGI has gotten a lot better in the last 20 years. But anyway, Disney Plus is not competing with Netflix directly. But remember, Disney also owns Hulu. So Hulu is actually the potential Netflix competitor. Or as Ben Thompson says, it's the Netflix hedge. Because Disney Plus is all about promoting their own IP, right? Their own intellectual property, which is the strongest in the game. So again, that's Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Disney. But Hulu, on that streaming service, that's kind of different. They could promote anything on there. So Hulu stays around so that Netflix is not the only alternative for selling streaming rights or original content. That happens to exist for its own sake. not because it's part of something bigger. So Disney does make that type of content. Not everything plugs into the Marvel universe, especially now that they got 21st Century Fox. So one-off movies or series, again, that don't fit into one of the Disney universes, they would go on Hulu. And Hulu still sells that traditional cable bundle, which is also very lucrative for Disney still. They still want to support that. The way to think about Netflix is basically as the new cable. And you know I've complained before about how many shitty shows are on Netflix, but there's a reason for that. There's a lot of garbage programming on cable too. But people don't want to be watching Game of Thrones level content where you have to be focused. You know, they don't want to watch that all the time. Netflix, what a lot of people do is just put it on in the background while they go do stuff. They treat it just like TV, but instead of flipping through the channels, it's more algorithm driven. But that's why Netflix will have like Hallmark quality content on there. And I don't mean like quality content, like good content. I mean like bad content, like Hallmark. But it's just time pass, you know? So if Netflix is the new cable, as they keep adding more and more content and slowly increasing that price, that's not Disney's same play, because Disney is all about Disney and their ecosystem. Now, before this announcement, Disney was just coiling in this multi-year pattern here. But after this announcement, it launched out of that pattern, making it a good time to buy. And like I said, at Macaros, we were looking at this thing a year ago. I even published this video about the Disney Fox deal when they had that. You can see how old it is because of all the shadows and the low quality. This was a funny video though, you can go watch it. But back then the stock was trading at just 13 times next year's earnings, and the company was buying back shares aggressively. And after 3 years of little to no revenue growth, the top line numbers began accelerating higher again. And they were valuing the thing at just 2 times EBITDA, which was crazy for a company like Disney. And the issue back then was that people were latching onto an old stale narrative and were failing to see changing fundamentals. So if you guys remember, everyone was really focused on ESPN and how it was losing subscribers, and that was the big moneymaker for Disney. See, they were talking about Disney being an out-of-touch legacy media business with a dying ESPN division. They thought they were way too slow to move to streaming and that Disney was done for. They completely discounted all the IP they had, like we were talking about before, Frozen, Marvel, Star Wars, literally the best IP in the game. Discounted all of that, didn't matter. But now after they made this announcement, which wasn't anything really new, we all understood that Disney Plus was coming, and we all knew the IP that Disney had. We knew the fundamentals of the thing, but this announcement changed the sentiment. So everyone shifted from Disney is terrible to Disney is a Netflix killer and the new hot growth stock. And that's how we got it launching out of that coiling pattern. And this is the reason why you can't just look at fundamentals when investing. You also got to look at sentiment and technicals. Right here with this Disney announcement, we saw the technicals change. We saw the breakout we were looking for. And with that breakout and announcement, we also saw sentiment change. All of a sudden, Disney is the best company. It's stupid. I mean, it's not rational, but that's because people aren't rational, which means markets aren't going to be rational. So you basically got to play the player. But if you want to know more about what's going on in the streaming world with all these companies, all these media companies, check out that playlist I mentioned before. We have a bunch of videos on it. And if you want more analysis like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you get an email notification when our future videos come out. We're publishing every single day, 7 days a week. Come hang out with us, check out the information, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Stay fallible out there. Bye.